What if I told you that the very moment you share your biggest ambition with someone, you've already killed half of it? What if the applause you receive today is the same poison that will stop you tomorrow? Stay with me, because by the end of this story, you'll understand why the most powerful people in the world guard their plans like sacred treasures. There's an ancient truth that most of us learn too late. It's not written in books, it's not taught in schools. It hides in plain sight, disguised as encouragement, friendship, and support. But beneath the surface, it's slowly draining the life from your potential. Today, I'm going to share a story with you, a story about a woman who lost everything because she couldn't keep her mouth shut. And then, against all odds, she discovered a secret so profound that it reshaped her entire existence. This isn't just a story, it's a mirror. And if you're brave enough to look into it, you might just see yourself staring back. Her name was Maya. She lived in a bustling city where everyone seemed to be chasing something. Fame, fortune, recognition. Maya was no different. She had dreams that burned inside her chest like wildfire. She wanted to write a book. She wanted to start a business. She wanted to become someone people admired. But Maya had a problem. Every time an idea sparked in her mind, her first instinct was to share it. Not quietly, not selectively, but loudly, proudly, desperately. She would call her friends and say, "I'm going to write a book that will change lives." They would smile and say, "That's amazing, Maya, you're so talented." She would post on social media, "Big things are coming, stay tuned." Strangers would like it, comment on it, celebrate it, and Maya, she would feel a rush, a surge of validation, a sense of accomplishment. The problem was, she hadn't accomplished anything yet. She hadn't written a single page. She hadn't taken a single step. But her brain didn't know the difference. To her mind, the praise felt the same as the achievement. And so the fire inside her would dim. Not all at once, but slowly, like a candle left in the wind. Days would pass, then weeks, then months, and the book? It never came. The business? It remained a fantasy, the person she wanted to become, still a stranger in the mirror. This cycle repeated itself over and over. Maya would dream, she would announce, she would bask in the attention, and then, inevitably, she would abandon the dream. At first, she blamed external factors. "I'm too busy," she would say. Or, "The timing isn't right." But deep down, in the quiet moments when no one was watching, she knew the truth. Something was wrong, something inside her was broken, and she didn't know how to fix it. One evening, Maya sat alone in her apartment. The city lights flickered outside her window, but inside, everything felt dark. She thought about all the things she had promised herself, all the declarations she had made, all the goals she had abandoned, and for the first time, she felt something heavier than disappointment. She felt shame, not the shame of failure, but the shame of pretending. She had spent years performing the role of someone with ambition, without ever doing the work. She had become addicted to the reaction, not the result. That night, she didn't sleep. She sat at her desk and wrote a single question in her journal. "Why do I always give up?" She stared at the words for a long time. No answer came, but the question stayed with her. It haunted her. It demanded attention. The next morning, Maya went to her favorite café. She needed to escape her own thoughts, even if just for an hour. She ordered her usual coffee and sat by the window, watching the world move without her. That's when she noticed him, an old man sitting in the corner. He wasn't reading. He wasn't on his phone. He was just still. There was something about his presence that felt different, not intrusive, not loud, just quietly magnetic. Their eyes met for a brief moment and he smiled, not a polite smile, but a knowing one, as if he could see something she was trying to hide. Maya looked away quickly, embarrassed. But a few minutes later, the man stood up and walked over to her table. "May I sit?" he asked gently. Maya hesitated, then nodded. He sat down and didn't say anything for a while, just sipped his tea and gazed out the window. Finally, he spoke. "You carry a heavy weight," he said. Maya frowned. "Excuse me? Your dreams?" he continued. "You carry them like stones, not because they're difficult, but because you've shown them to too many people." Maya's heart skipped a beat. How could this stranger know? She tried to brush it off. "I don't know what you're talking about." The old man smiled again. "Of course you do. You announce your plans before you've taken a single step. You seek approval before you've earned it. And every time someone praises your words, you mistake it for progress." Maya felt exposed, naked. She wanted to argue, but the words wouldn't come. Because everything he said was true. "Who are you?" she whispered. "Just someone who made the same mistake," he replied. "For many years, I spoke my intentions into the world, thinking it would make me accountable, but all it did was satisfy my ego. I became a performer, not a doer." "So what changed?" Maya asked. The old man leaned forward. "I learned the law of silence." "The law of silence?" Maya repeated, confused. "Yes," the old man said. "It's simple, but most people never learn it. When you speak about something you haven't yet done, you release the energy meant for action. You convert potential into performance. And once the performance is over, the potential is gone." He paused, letting the words sink in. "Think of it like this," he continued. "Imagine you have a seed, a precious seed that could grow into a mighty tree. Now, you have two choices. You can plant it in the soil, water it in silence, and wait for it to grow. Or you can hold it up in the marketplace, show it to everyone, tell them how magnificent the tree will be, and bask in their admiration. Which seed do you think will grow?" Maya didn't need to answer. The metaphor was clear. "But why does talking about it stop the growth?" she asked. "Because," the old man said, "your mind craves completion. It craves closure. When you announce a goal and receive positive feedback, your brain registers it as a form of completion. The dopamine hit you get from praise is the same dopamine hit you'd get from actual achievement. So your subconscious mind asks, why keep working? We already got what we wanted." Maya felt a chill run down her spine. Everything suddenly made sense. All the times she had felt motivated after sharing a plan. All the times that motivation had evaporated within days. It wasn't laziness. It wasn't lack of discipline. It was brain chemistry. It was biology. She had been tricking herself into feeling successful without ever succeeding. "So what do I do?" Maya asked, her voice trembling. The old man looked at her with compassion. "You stop performing. You stop seeking approval. You stop announcing. You plant your seed in silence. You water it with effort, not words. And when the tree is strong, when the fruit is ripe, when the work is done, only then do you invite people to see it. But what if I fail in silence? What if no one is there to encourage me? Then you'll discover something even more valuable," the old man said. "You'll discover that the only encouragement you ever truly needed was your own." Maya left the cafe that day with a strange mixture of hope and fear. Hope, because she finally understood what had been holding her back. Fear, because she didn't know if she could change. She had spent so long seeking external validation that the idea of working in silence felt terrifying. What if no one noticed? What if she struggled alone and no one was there to cheer her on? But then she remembered the old man's words. The only encouragement you ever truly needed was your own. That night, Maya made a decision. She would try something different. She would choose one goal. And she would tell absolutely no one about it. She decided to write a short story, not a book, not yet, just one story, 10 pages. She didn't post about it on social media. She didn't tell her friends. She didn't mention it to her family. She simply opened her laptop and began. The first night was hard. She wrote 3 sentences and deleted 2 of them. The words felt clumsy, the ideas felt scattered, but there was no one to impress, no audience to perform for, just her and the blank page. And strangely, that made it easier. She wasn't trying to sound profound. She wasn't trying to prove anything. She was just writing. Days passed. Some nights she wrote a lot. Other nights she wrote nothing, but she kept showing up, quietly, consistently, without fanfare, and something miraculous began to happen. The story started to take shape. Characters emerged. Emotions deepened. The narrative found its rhythm, and for the first time in years, Maya felt something she thought she had lost. She felt genuine pride, not the shallow pride that comes from applause, but the deep, quiet pride that comes from creating something real. 2 weeks later, the story was finished. Maya read it from beginning to end and smiled. It wasn't perfect, but it was hers. It was complete. It existed in the world because she had done the work, not because she had talked about it. She saved the file, closed her laptop, and took a deep breath. She had proven something to herself. She could finish what she started, but only if she kept it sacred. Encouraged by her small victory, Maya decided to continue the experiment. She chose another goal. This time, she wanted to learn how to paint. Again, she told no one. She bought supplies quietly. She watched tutorials in private. She practiced in her apartment where no one could see. The paintings were terrible at first. Clumsy brushstrokes, muddy colors, disproportionate shapes. But there was no one to judge, no one to mock, no one to praise prematurely, just her and the canvas. Weeks turned into months. Maya's life began to change in ways she hadn't expected. Because she wasn't constantly seeking validation, she had more energy, more focus, more time. She wasn't scrolling through social media, waiting for likes. She wasn't having long conversations about what she planned to do. She was simply doing. And the doing became its own reward. One day, a friend visited her apartment and noticed a painting on the wall. "Maya, did you paint this?" the friend asked, surprised. Maya replied simply, "When did you start painting?" "You never mentioned it," Maya smiled. "I've been working on it for a while." Her friend was amazed. "It's beautiful. I had no idea you were an artist." "I'm not an artist," Maya said. "I'm just someone who paints." That conversation marked a shift. People began to see Maya differently, not because she had announced her transformation, but because the transformation was visible. Her actions spoke louder than any words ever could, and the respect she received felt different too. It wasn't based on potential. It wasn't based on promises. It was based on proof. Maya continued this way for years. She wrote more stories. She painted more canvases. She started a small online business selling handmade crafts, and through it all she kept the law of silence. She didn't announce launches. She didn't post progress updates. She simply worked, completed, and presented. And every time she completed something, she felt stronger, more capable, more real. 5 years after that fateful conversation, Maya returned to the same café. She didn't know if the old man would be there. Part of her wondered if he had even been real. But as she walked in, she saw him, sitting in the same corner, sipping the same tea. He looked up and smiled as if no time had passed at all. Maya walked over and sat down without asking. "You were right," she said. The old man nodded. "I know. I've spent the last 5 years working in silence, and my life has completely changed." "Tell me," he said, leaning forward. Maya told him everything, the stories she had written, the paintings she had created, the business she had built. The old man listened carefully, his eyes warm with understanding. When she finished, he asked a single question. "And did you feel lonely?" Maya paused. "At first, yes. But then I realized something. I was never really alone. I had myself. And that was enough." No. His hen. Oh. That's the secret most people never learn. They think they need the world's permission to begin. "Because," the old man said, "someone once helped me the same way. And the only way to honor that gift is to pass it on." So let me ask you again. What if the very moment you share your biggest ambition, you've already killed half of it? What if the people cheering for you today are unknowingly stealing your tomorrow? This isn't about secrecy. It's not about arrogance. It's about protection. It's about understanding that dreams are fragile in the beginning. They need time. They need silence. They need the dark, quiet soil of effort to grow strong. Think about your own life right now. How many times have you announced something and then quietly let it die? How many times have you mistaken approval for accomplishment? How many times have you performed ambition instead of living it? If you're honest with yourself, you already know the answer. And if that answer makes you uncomfortable, good. Discomfort is the first step toward change. Here's what I want you to do right now, today. Choose one thing, just one, something you've been wanting to do but haven't started. It could be small. It could be big. It doesn't matter. But here's the rule. Don't tell anyone, not your friends, not your family, not the internet. Keep it between you and the work. Water it with effort, not words. Protect it from praise. Let it grow in silence. And when it's strong, when it's real, when it's undeniable, then you can share it. Not as a promise, but as proof. Because the world doesn't need more people talking about what they're going to do. The world needs more people who quietly do the work and let their results speak. So the next time you feel the urge to announce your plans, pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, am I seeking validation or am I committed to transformation? If it's validation you want, go ahead and post. But if it's transformation you seek, stay silent, plant the seed, water it in darkness. And when the tree is tall and strong, everyone will see it without you saying a word. That's the law of silence. That's the secret of people who actually finish what they start. And now it's yours. If this story moved you, if it challenged you, if it made you think differently about your own dreams, then share it with someone who needs to hear it, not for me, but for them. Because sometimes one story can change everything. Subscribe to this channel if you want more lessons like this. Stories that don't just entertain, but transform. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And most importantly, thank you for choosing silence over noise. Now go build something real.